I grew up with barely any traumas as a child. While my parents had me out of wedlock, they decided to get traditionally married when I was young. I grew up in a household where my parents show their affection to each other to this day. My parents have always been protective over my brother and I, and made sure we knew to come to them if we were uncomfortable. Aside from the drama that comes with growing up in an African church, which seems to be the rite of passage in the life of a first gen, I've never experienced trauma, which is a blessing but can also be a disadvantage when life starts to life. I never knew how to cope with disappointment and rejection because life has been good for the most part. 2019 to 2020 was the beginning of the shift. I entered my senior year. I realized that I didn't want to continue in pre-nursing and changed my major to the closest thing I could get to graduate. During one of the Marvelous Encounter events by Bethel Campus Fellowship, I told God that I did not want to do this on my own, and I finally surrendered. I started desiring different things for myself and decided to say no to things that I felt were not aligning with the life I wanted to live. I distinctively remember not wanting to attend a party, but I ended up going because my closest friend at the time wanted to celebrate their birthday at a kickback. I remember not smoking, and I don't think I got anything to drink while I was there, but maybe I did. One of my other friends, who was Muslim, looked at me and asked me, "What are you doing here?" It was an odd question considering the fact that this was not the first party we've both attended, and I was also taken aback because the voice I heard did not match the person who was talking. That was when I decided that that would be my last party. I started looking at my life and had a feeling that my surroundings needed to change, so I started praying to God, "Lord, I don't have the strength to remove anyone or anything out of my life. Please do it for me." I had no idea that God was going to do it the way He did, but this prayer set the foundation of what was going to happen for the next 6 years. As I reflect on the past few occasions that caused these traumas, I get sad. Some deeper emotions to describe my feelings are disappointment, embarrassment, and rejection. I was disappointed at the fact that there was no consideration for me and how I would feel. I was embarrassed because I did not listen to the warnings God sent to me and that I put people on a pedestal. I felt rejected because I felt the loyalty I showed was not reciprocated. There was a small opportunity of reconciliation for some situations. However, the conversation did not go well at all. While there was intention to reconcile on my side, I did not realize that there was anger still within me. Underneath that anger, there was rejection and disappointment. I've wondered what was the point of having that conversation because it went very south. But I realized that it needed to happen in order for me to see what I was suppressing in the depths of my heart. God wants to do a new thing, but in order for Him to do a new thing, the old has to be removed. Eventually, comfort eating became my safe space. Then it turned into a habit and then developed into a stronghold. At the time, I did not realize that I used food to grieve the life changes and the people who once played a huge part of my life. I was not only grieving my friendships, but also the aftermath of having to deal with 3 to 4 months of sleep paralysis that happened every night. Those experiences resulted in hallucination, lack of sleep, depression, which also fed into the unhealthy habits. The things that happened to me during those episodes varied. There were times I felt rope being wrapped around my body, times I felt someone sitting on top of me. I've been choked a few times. I was physically moved from one place of my bed to another, and there would be moments where I would hear people laughing at me when I would cry out to Jesus to end these paralysis episodes. Food was the only safe space I felt I had in the moment. What can I do to break this habit of gluttony? What does the Word of God say about burdens, worries, and the hurt I was carrying? How can I release these desires to control everything in my life? Who or what spiritual force was behind my sleep paralysis episodes? When will I decide to love myself and take steps to heal my body from the inside out?